Hello, welcome to Totally Approachable Yoga. Let's do a nice morning stretch routine. Start in a comfortable seat. Close your eyes. Ground yourself and try to clear your mind of any thoughts of what you have to do later today. Be grateful for this time on the mat. And let's try to focus on our breathing. After a few deep breaths, you can flutter your eyes open. Circle the wrists. Shrug your shoulders up really tight so you can feel them when you relax. Some gentle shoulder rolls backwards and forward. Open your arms wide. Give yourself a hug. Open wide again. Give a hug, but switch the cross of your arms. Sweep your arms up on a deep inhale. Gently grab your left wrist and feel a nice side stretch, but don't lift that hip. Keep your sit bones grounded to the mat. And down. Up. Opposite side. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Sit up tall, staff pose. Flex and point your feet. If you want, you can circle your ankles. Bounce your legs a little bit. Just get some blood flowing into the area. Okay, let's come to tabletop. So come on all fours. Your wrist, elbow, and shoulder should be in line. Your knees and hips should be in line, and your back should be flat like a table. Shake your bum a little bit, wiggle your hips, and then steady. Drop the belly, open the collarbone, and look forward for cow. And roll, feel it from your whole spine around your back. And tuck your chin for cat. Let's do that as a flow a little bit faster. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Cow. And cat. One more time. You should feel a loosening in your low back. Return your spine to a neutral position. Step one leg back, rest on your toes. Press into your toe joints a little bit. Stretch out that leg. And as you're feeling the energy, pull that leg back behind you. If you can balance, pick up the opposite arm and reach it forward. So there's a pulling in opposite directions, and you're getting a nice long stretch. Now, if you're feeling a little wobbly today, you can put that back toe down. And from here, let's do 5 yogi crunches. So, feel a stretch and crunch in, elbow to knee. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And return to tabletop. Realign yourself if you need. Step the other foot back. Press into your toes. Lift that leg and feel the pull behind you as you feel your opposite hand pulling forward. And if you're feeling steady like this, you can do some crunches. You can put your toe down if you feel a little bit wobbly. You can still do the crunches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come back to tabletop. Sit back, seat to feet into sort of a half child's pose. We're not fully down. And now we're going to press up into our first down dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, and lean back into an upside down V. You might need to adjust where your hands are a little bit. Put your head between the frame of your arms. Pedal the feet. It's okay if your heels are not down yet. It's our first down dog of the morning. Bend your knees to lift your hips more. Shake your hips from side to side. And then steady into the pose. Let's take 3 rounds of breath right here in down dog. Lift your right leg up and keep your hips square. Bring knee to nose as you come forward a little bit. And back up. And now when you bring it through, step it in between your hands. You can help it if you need to. Drop your back knee and come up into a low lunge. Keep this knee at a right angle. Don't let it come in front of your foot, but push forward so you feel the stretch in your hip. And on the exhale, straighten that leg. Bring your hands down, flex the foot, and drop your head. Come back into the low lunge. Bring your foot, step back into tabletop, and push back into down dog. Now let's repeat that on the opposite side. Lift your leg up. Knee to nose. Lift it up again. Knee to nose, but this time bring it all the way through. Drop your back knee. Come up into a low lunge. Settle into the pose. Feel the stretch in the hips. Drop your hands, straighten the front leg, flex the foot, and come back. Tabletop, and lift the hips into down dog. Lift your leg up again, bring it through. This time we're going to come up into high lunge. Check your balance. Lift arms up, settle into the pose. From here, frame the foot, come back into plank, lower down. If you're feeling strong, you can stay hovering in chaturanga. We'll come all the way down to the belly and come up into your back bend of choice, baby cobra or up dog. And then flip the toes, come back to down dog. Let's repeat that on the other side. Lift the opposite leg up, bring it through, come up into high lunge. Take a round of breath. Frame the foot, come back into plank, lower down, come up for your back bend, and back into down dog. Bend the knees, look forward, hop, step, or jump to the front of your mat. And swoop up. Hands at heart center. Good. Should feel a little more energized now. We did some movement. Okay. Sweep the arms up. Swan dive down, hinging at the hips. Come halfway up with your hands on your shin. Plant your palms. Step back into plank. If you want, you can do another chaturanga up dog, or you can just go back into down dog. We're all gonna meet in down dog. And let's take 3 rounds of breath. From here, lift your leg. This time bend your knee, open the hip, circle it, and then bring it through. Tilt your back foot so that you come up into warrior one. Now from here, hands on hips, bring back leg up to meet the front. And we're going to squat and chair. Sit in your imaginary chair. Legs could be, arms can be up or forward, or even at heart center. Dive down. Step back into plank. Lower into chaturanga, or all the way down. Up for your back bend. Roll over your toes into down dog. We'll repeat that on the other side. Lift your left leg up, bend the knee, open up the hip, circle it. Bring that leg forward. Flatten and angle the back foot. Come into warrior one. Bring the back leg up to meet the front. And finish with a chair. Okay. Step your feet wide on the mat. Hands on your hips. And lower down into a wide-legged forward fold. If you can reach the floor. You can also use a block. And just let your head hang. Bend into one leg. And if you can, lift the toes on the opposite foot. This is Skandasana. Now, I'm not down nearly as far as you'll see in pictures and magazines. So you can squat down as low as is comfortable for you. I have tight hips, so this is as far as I'm going. And from here, come through center and try it on the opposite side. And you should feel it stretch in your inner thigh and your hips. Good. Stand tall, 5-pointed star. Take a deep inhale. Exhale into goddess. Up, squat, and again, squat, hands on hip, straighten your legs and relax. With your legs in this wide stance, arms to a T, point your front foot to be parallel with your hand. Back foot could come in a little bit. And reach with your hand towards the opposite, in my case, wall, or whatever you're reaching towards in your house. And when you can't reach anymore, then drop your arm down and lift your other arm up for triangle. So you'll see, I'm up pretty tall, but it's all one line, and if I were against a wall, it would be flat. Versus, oh, I want to reach my toes, but that compromises the pose and you're bending forward, which is not what we're trying to do. And up. And while we have that toe facing that way, let's bend into warrior two. So hips are facing the long end of the mat. You have a deep bend in that front leg. Back leg is straight. Foot is tilted in, arms at a T. You can look over that hand, but I'm going to look at you. And bring your arm down to your thigh. If you want, you can bring it all the way down to the floor or block. And bring this other arm up and over, pointing at where the wall meets the ceiling. And again, keep this opening in your chest, so we're not collapsing down. And up. Keeping that bend in the front leg. Put your hand on your back leg, flip this hand, and reach it over for peaceful or reverse warrior. Straighten up. Parallel the feet. While we're here, let's take a big inhale. And exhale, forward fold down. And come up. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. So, foot points towards the mat. On that side, this foot is in. Arms to a T. Reach until you can't reach anymore, and then drop. And from here, lift your other arm up for triangle. And lift up. Bend into that front knee. If you need to shorten your stance a little, you can. Hips are still aligned with the wide end of the mat for warrior two. Arm on your thigh or down to the floor or block. And other arm overhead for side angle. And come back up. Keeping the bend in that leg, put your arm on the straight leg behind you. Tilt your hand in front and come back over for peaceful warrior. Up, parallel the feet, and step them together. Okay, let's take 2 breaths to center ourselves. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale up. Hands to heart center. Okay, let's try tree pose. Ground into the mat. So you have a steady base, put all the weight on one leg, and as you do that, float your other leg up. And you're going to bend your knee and open the hip. Now, you might be right here with your toe on the ground and this opening, and that's fine. It's still hard to balance. If you're feeling a little more confident today in your steadiness, you can bring that foot up to your shin. And if you want to bring it all the way up, some people find it even easier to balance with it up high. I don't know. You'll have to try it. It might be different on each side. But I'm going to keep mine right at my shin. Focus on something that's not moving. And put your arms up, branches of your tree. Let them sway in the breeze. Don't worry about wobbling. If you come out of the pose, you just get right back in. Okay, shake out those legs. Let's try that on the other side. Put all your weight on the opposite side. Float your leg up, bend your knee and open the hip. Figure out where you're going to put your foot. Just don't put it on the knee. So it's either on the ground, a little bit up on your shin or all the way up on your inner thigh. And it might be different on both sides. And if you're feeling steady, look at something not moving, raise your branches. Good. Okay. Once again, let's stand at the top of the mat. Take a deep inhale up. Exhale as we swan dive down. Step back into plank. And this time, because we're pretty warmed up, lower down into chaturanga and come all the way up into up dog, which means only the tops of your feet and your hands are on the mat. Everything else is lifted. And roll over your toes, come back into down dog. Drop your knees, put your toes together, widen your knees, and come back into a wide-legged child pose and walk your fingers forward so you really feel a stretch, like through your shoulders. Good. Swing your legs around. And let's try boat pose. This pose, you're really engaging your core. So you might have seen pictures of it where someone is up, their legs are totally up, both of them, and their arms are also up, and they're really engaging their core and they're balancing. If that is too challenging, especially if you have a weak low back, I recommend just coming up to your edge. So that might be right here. You're still engaging that core. Or you can lift up one leg. And then if you're feeling a little bolder, two, and even higher. You can keep the bend in the leg. Just don't collapse down. Keep engaging that core so you feel like you're doing like a sit-up almost. And down. Take a breath. Let's try that again. Inhale for boat pose. And good. All right, come all the way down to the floor. Keep your knees bent and your legs planted, your feet planted, sorry. Bring them closer to your bottom. We're going to do bridge pose. So take a deep inhale. On the exhale, push up. So you're really pushing into your feet and lifting your pelvis high as you can make it. You'll feel the stretch here. And try to shimmy your shoulders almost underneath you, like roll them under, and grab your hands, clasp your hands underneath if you can. And if you want, you can raise up on your toes a little to get the shoulders underneath and then get a little more height. And roll back down, grab your knees, do some gentle spinal rolls. And let's try it again. Plant the feet, take a deep inhale, exhale as we push up into bridge. Good. All right, let's cross over one leg and the other. Make a figure four. And if you can, gently push open that leg to feel a stretch in the hip. And reach through. Grab the back of that thigh. And if you can, straighten the opposite leg. And push on the figure four leg with your opposite arm. This is reclined pigeon. And bring that leg down. And before we switch sides, let's do a little twist. Let this foot fall to the floor. So you're feeling a twist. And your arms can be cactus or out in a T, and you can look over to the opposite shoulder. And back up. And let's try that on the other side. Create the figure 4. Open up the hip. This might be enough for you, but if you feel like you can, lift the other leg up, reach through, clasp your hands, and for the full pose, stretch your leg up and open up, continue to open up this hip. And bring this down. Let's do that little counter twist. Let this gently fall. But try to keep both shoulders on the ground, and then you're going to look over in the opposite direction. Again, hug your knees into your chest. Take your peace sign fingers, grab your big toes, bend your knees towards your armpits, and relax into happy baby. You can open up one leg or the other, whatever feels good. Now, we can lay back, set a timer for 10 minutes and relax in Shavasana. I'm not going to have you watch me do that because it's pretty boring, but I encourage you to do that. Or you can, if you're feeling warmed up and you want a little more energy, you can do one of the other videos. So thank you for joining me and leading you in this practice. Please put your comments below. Namaste.